So this evening, we are having our annual Patricia J.A. Pantoflet Memorial Lecture. Many of you will know that we've been doing this for a number of years, and it is our way of honoring not only our family member, but also a great woman and humanitarian. The Caribbean has produced countless prominent labor union leaders that fought tooth and nail for the well-being of workers. Jamaica boasts of Sir Alexander Bustamante. Guyana had Ayuba Idun. Barbados gave us Mr. Grantley Adams. Grenada gave us Mr. Tubal Uriah Butler. Trinidad and Tobago extols the works of Captain Arthur Cipriani. Curacao gave us a legendary Papa Godet, and St. Martin has produced, amongst others, Miss Patricia Pantoflet, our bright and shining star.
I want to just to go back a bit to 1996, and Claire, Madam Claire would be the one to say exactly which demonstration was going on at the time, but I was here on job training at the MPC. And then there was this big demonstration that was going on, and my sister at the time, president of WICSU PSU, it was a lot of excitement, and your aunt, that she would always, get everyone involved. Everyone in the family had to be involved, but I was scared to attend because, again, I was on job training and I wasn't sure if I would be able or allowed to go. And I believe she told me, ask Claire. And when I asked Claire, Claire said, of course. And I went to the manager at the time, that was Aldine Bryson Pantoflet, and she said, yes, it's okay, you can go. And I was right there in the midst with everyone walking through the streets of Phillipsburg. And it was a great, great experience. So that was my first, experience walking with union leaders and demonstrating for a cause. Now, forgive me, I can't really remember what it was about. Maybe Claire can help me there, but I didn't care what it was about. It was about justice, and I was in the midst of it.
Okay.
Making my contribution.
All right, Sister Claire?
Well, just to chime in on what Sister Pantoflet was saying, it came out in the media of how national would this strike be?
Yeah.
Because it was a strike, or let's say the action was to be carried out through the whole Netherlands Antilles.
Was this against higher supervision of
no, not higher supervision,
of austerity measures.
Austerity measures that were thrown down our throats. So basically, Curacao unions at that same day, the planning was Curacao unions, Bonaire unions, St. Martin, and as Windward Islands Teachers Union, we deployed also some sharpshooters to Sabre and Statia, because we were still representing Sabre and Statia in St. Eustatius. So it was, even though the question mark was placed, how national would this be, or how, across the board, we demonstrated that it was. And in that respect too, there came to mind the great Mr. Marsden. When Mr. Marsden, he was the police officer representing the police, when he took the stage at the parking lot where the government building is now, I tell you, that was so well attended that even the heads of schools, usually elementary school, they would have to wait until the last child is gone. Well, they did that, but they were there present. Everybody, somebody from different ranks that you would not expect, they were there present. So that is to bring back the memories alive. We had various other badges, of course, but that one
was very impressive, because it was felt that sense of unity
was well attended.
It was well attended, and there was no sense of fear of repercussion or anything like that. What we have now, that was something to remember. Definitely, definitely.
I of course, at this point in time, I'm the vice president of the Windward Islands Teachers Union. But I was born here on French St. Martin. Most people see me Elshot, and that's my married name that I pick up in Curacao. But left the island at the age of 16 to Curacao to further my studies because my dreams were to become a teacher. And I can thank a number of persons, but they are no longer here, for their input in me also becoming that teacher, because at age 22, I was a full qualified teacher and then went on a couple of years after to become a full qualified special ed teacher. I worked then 9 years in Curacao until I returned back home in 1988. Coming home I have lost my mom in 86, so it was a kind of mixed feeling coming home with my three kids. And basically, I started to work here as a remedial teacher. And somewhere along the line, I felt the presence of the lack of, a union. Something was wrong. Plus, when I look at the scales, in Curacao, we should be at the same scales, more or less. I kind of find that our scales were a little higher. So then, analyzing the problem, I realized that the indexation that passed in Curacao did not pass on the scales in St. Martin as yet. And there is where I got involved talking with people who were just in the process also of revitalizing the teachers union. And it started first, I believe, with a competition for the change of a name, because the original persons that how you would say that played a role in organizing the teachers union were probably mainly Dutch. So it carried the name Vereniging Onderwijzend Personeel Bovenwindse Eilanden. So basically, they were here in St. Martin consciously looking for a name, and it was organized in a competition. So I came in when I knew that the winner of that competition was a teacher at Orion School at that time, Diana Johnson. She came up with the Windward Islands Teachers Union.
Oh, look at that.
And that up to today, it's been used. So the first major, after becoming back active, we had Mr. Vincent Delane became the president. After they revitalized, we had Joseph Rogers, Alvin Rumley, all of those persons was in the board. But the first major deception that we had here in St. Martin was that we had two toelagen. We had next to our salary the bovenwindse toelage, which is the Windward Islands allowance, and we had a 15% extraordinary allowance. Okay, so there was two allowance, and then when there was a strike, we had as governor at that time Mr. Fogus, not Matthias, another Fogus, and he brought the unions in, and that is when the 15%, and we learned that it is an allowance, so it can be taken away. They then criticized that at 15% they didn't have a legal basis. So that is when that was taken away, which also depleted purchasing power and also what you would go home with in your hand. So we went behind.
Coming back to the former president before you, you mentioned that Delane
Vincent Delane.
Vincent Delane, he would have been like the first president of the Windward Islands Teachers
No, he
Union.
wasn't going to be the first, but when they revitalized it, he became the president.
He became the
Yes,
president,
in
and
92.
after him was you.
Then after him, yes, in 1990, just the year before Lois,
Yeah.
in January of 1994,
Yeah.
they kept election. And that night, two candidates were postulated, Mr. the late Julian Lynch and myself. And the first runoff, we were tied. So we had to do a rerun. And then I came out, you know, you had to present yourself, etc. I came out with one vote over Mr. Julian Lynch. And that's how he became my vice president. Okay. And I have a wonderful, beautiful, but coming now, I want to come to Patricia because
Claire, you see, she's getting excited, and that is why
She warming up. She warming up.
The Powerpuff.
Yeah, I know.
But we didn't reach that stage as yet.
But we even haven't reached a stage where I fully introduce myself. It's a nice. It's
It can come full circle.
Yes, but they would know and have the feeling that we are teachers. Yeah. And when you are teachers, it's who is in the kitchen. I would always say only who's in the kitchen feels the heat. Yeah. So we had at that time island councils, and we had the central government in Curacao, and you know, whatever they dictate over there would come down in St. Martin. So at a given moment, there is where our journey starts. Because if we were not in only Wixu was in CGOA, so the central GOA.
Yes.
And Y2 was not in central GOA. But you had to put out your claws and make your presence known at the table of negotiations. And there is where Sister Patricia and myself started to, you know, bond with each other, because if we are from St. Martin, civil servants might have different issues than the teachers in certain areas. But when it comes to, let's say, your salaries, the ranks benefits must be different. But when it comes to your fringe benefits, your vacation allowance, your periodic, your COLA, and those things, we are talking the same language. So therefore, we started to cooperate and correspond with each other. We had a lot of different meetings where we exchange ideas, etc. As the first female president of the Windward Islands Teachers Union, it was also a privilege to be working with another female, because even though Sister Pantaflet was not the first female, I believe we had Prudence George as the first, but still, for me, she was a beacon of inspiration. She was a motivation, because when we have meetings, you'll have the men walking around loose. She would gather everybody up together. And basically, when we analyze a lot of things that was going on, there were no incentives anymore in the package, because everything was being with austerity.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, Com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
These three individuals, around 350 years ago, fighting for their African identity, were enslaved and were killed at this spot. These three individuals suffered at the beginning of our colonial history. They have been under this road, hidden for 350 years. But St. Martin goes through storms and comes back. St. Martin builds. St. Martin grows. And at this spot, in 2010, during part of our growth and expansion, these three individuals who suffered so much then were released. They were found again. And their spirit now comes forth and is alive again. Because the Zoutstag Three are not only important for St. Martin, they are important for the entire African diaspora. Because they represent something so significant. First generation Africans. Those who were part when this whole system was being created, this system of suffering, they were the first generation Africans. And they carried with them from Africa a trait that was deep in their African identity. They actually chipped and modified their teeth. A practice common in Africa, but it was those individuals in Africa who had the courage and the rebellious spirit to do it, to physically mutilate their teeth in order to express that aesthetic power. Now, all these years later, they have come back. And now we are recognizing them. Tonight, I'm going to give a lot more details at the university around 6 o'clock. We're going to have a talk. I get the word from Clara there. But at the same time, I want to make one very important point here. Spirituality of what they suffered, what they endured, and where we are now is so vital. It is so essential to identity, is that emotional, that sense of feeling, of spirituality. But I'm here to tell you that there is also science. There is also scientific investigation. And when we studied these three individuals, we were able, through DNA studies and isotope studies, not only confirm that they were first generation Africans, we were able to identify exactly where in Africa they came from. That is enormous. It had never been done before until 2015, when St. Martin was on the top 10 archaeological sites of the year 2015 for Archaeology magazine. Because of these three, and because of the dynamic, innovative genetics and isotope work we did. I'll talk more tonight, yes, Clara, but at the same time, I want to make that point. We need that balance between spirituality and good scientific basis.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, Com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
This is where 14-year-old Tiana Sutherland was staying in Prospect St. Thomas before she was killed. But Thursday morning, as expected, it wasn't indicative of a summer holiday, just loss, emptiness, and complete quietness. Our news team understands that following Wednesday's gruesome occurrences, the family has left. However, we were able to talk to the other family implicated. The mother of the man accused of the murder, who saw him 2 weeks ago, says she believes her son is wrongly accused and denied claims that he had mental problems.
I don't think he did it. I just think he was accused wrongfully because he's a stranger in the district. He went there to spend some time with his girlfriend's family.
The man was identified as 19-year-old O'Shane Thompson of a Seaforth address in the parish. His father died when he was 6. His mother says when she spoke to the police, she had one question.
I'm not sure if they're him. I'm not getting an answer. The officer says to me, we came there, we called out, come outside, him came out with a machete holding up. And they shoot. That's what I get. And I said to them, say, you couldn't shoot him in his foot or in his hand, or don't train for that.
While it's hard to accept, the woman says she would not support her son in any wrongdoing.
I don't have no reason to think him ever hurt somebody like that. I don't think he have no reason to hurt nobody like that. It can be him and it cannot be him because trust me, when the devil get up, him get up. So it can be him and it cannot be him. Because I don't want to say I know him and then the end of the day I wasn't there and him. Because I don't like conscience. It can be him and it cannot be him.
She added that his younger years were burdensome, stemming from his father's passing.
He been in and out of cemetery and psychiatrist and he been through a lot. So I won't say me try with him and me never want it happen. So I don't think me just have it in my mind say I know him, but then again me don't know what happened. So me just want my conscience to be free. I understand. Me a mother and if I him would have feel a way if I my child somebody do that too. I understand.
In the meantime, more details have been released on the moments leading up to the tragic death of the 14-year-old girl. According to police reports, she was home alone when her attacker gained entry through an open grill to the back of the house. She attempted to call her father, a police sergeant, but the call dropped. He became worried after not getting her when he returned the call. He immediately went back to the house. But the scene he went to was the last thing the concerned father expected. The policeman found his daughter lying in a pool of blood in the kitchen with chop wounds. She was taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Ramarda Lyons, TVJ News.